His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, received a cable of thanks and gratitude from the BDF Commander-in-Chief Field Marshal Sheikh Khalifa bin Ahmed Al Khalifa, in which he expressed gratitude and appreciation to His Majesty for his speech during the inauguration of the 4th session of the 6th legislative term of the Shura and Representatives Councils, which reflected the wisdom and insights of His Majesty. The Commander-in-Chief affirmed that the speech was comprehensive and reflected the constants of the state, its established leadership, national work, and the approach His Majesty takes towards strengthening national unity, economic revival, and sustainable development. It also demonstrates His Majesty's belief in the ability of the country and its citizens to achieve more accomplishments, which is a source of pride and gratitude to His Majesty. In the cable, the Commander-in-Chief affirmed appreciation and loyalty to His Majesty, wishing His Majesty abundant health and happiness and Bahrain further security, safety, and prosperity under His Majesty's leadership. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa returned to Bahrain, coming from Egypt after leading Bahrain's delegation to the Sharm el-Sheikh Summit for Peace and witnessing the signing of the agreement to end the war in Gaza in response to a kind invitation received from Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa departed Egypt, returning to the kingdom after leading Bahrain's delegation to the Sharm el-Sheikh Summit for Peace and witnessing the signing ceremony of the agreement to end the war in Gaza in the presence of a number of world leaders in response to the invitation received from the President of Egypt, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. His Majesty the King was bid farewell at Sharm el-Sheikh Airport by the Egyptian Minister of Culture Dr. Ahmed Fouad Hanou and Bahrain's Ambassador to Egypt, Fawziya Zainal. His Majesty the King sent a cable of thanks to President al-Sisi, expressing appreciation for the generous hospitality and excellent organization. His Majesty the King commended President al-Sisi's efforts in hosting the historic summit, which followed the peace plan proposed by US President Donald Trump to achieve a ceasefire in Gaza, secure the release of hostages and detainees, and facilitate the delivery of humanitarian aid. His Majesty noted that these efforts would help alleviate the suffering of civilians in the Gaza Strip and strengthen the foundations of peace, security, and stability in the region. His Majesty the King also expressed pride in Egypt's steadfast support for the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people and its efforts to end the war in Gaza and release hostages and detainees. His Majesty also commended Egypt's efforts in formulating the Arab Islamic Plan for Gaza's recovery and reconstruction, as well as its ongoing support for the Joint Arab Action, protection of Arab national security, and promotion of solidarity, peace, and security across the Arab world. In this regard, His Majesty recalled Egypt's historic hosting of the Peacemaker Conference in Sharm el-Sheikh in 1996, highlighting Egypt's role in achieving comprehensive and lasting peace in the region. His Majesty the King extended best wishes to President al-Sisi and to Egypt and to its people for further progress and prosperity. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa received a ceremony held at Sakhir Palace, the credentials of 4 new ambassadors to Bahrain. The ceremony was attended by His Highness the personal representative of His Majesty the King, His Highness the representative of His Majesty the King for Humanitarian Work and Youth Affairs and National Security Advisor, the Minister of the Royal Court, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Chief of Royal Protocol. The ambassador of Sri Lanka, Shireen Shanika Disanayak, arrived at Sakhir Palace, where she was received by the Chief of Royal Protocol, and the usual protocols were performed on such occasions. His Majesty the King received the credentials of the ambassador and exchanged cordial talks with her, hailing the relations between the two countries and the progress they witness at all levels, wishing the ambassador success in performing her diplomatic duties. The ambassador of Palestine, Arif Yusuf Hussein Saleh, arrived at Sakhir Palace, where he was received by the Chief of Royal Protocol, and the usual protocols were performed on such occasions. His Majesty the King received the credentials of the ambassador and exchanged cordial talks with him, hailing the relations between the two countries and the progress they witness at all levels, wishing the ambassador success in performing his diplomatic duties to support the friendly relations and cooperation with Bahrain. The ambassador of Germany, Henning Georg Simon, arrived at Sakhir Palace, where he was received by the Chief of Royal Protocol, and the usual protocols were performed on such occasions. His Majesty the King received the credentials of the ambassador and exchanged cordial talks with him, hailing the relations between the two countries, wishing the ambassador success in performing his diplomatic duties to support the friendly relations and cooperation with Bahrain. The ambassador of Israel, Shemuel Revelle, also arrived, where he was received by the Chief of Royal Protocol, and the usual protocols were performed on such occasions. His Majesty the King received the credentials of the ambassador and exchanged with him words of welcome, wishing him success in his diplomatic duties. The ambassadors conveyed to His Majesty the King the greetings and appreciation of their heads of states and their best wishes for His Majesty's good health and happiness, and for Bahrain and its people for further progress and prosperity. They praised the good relations between their countries and Bahrain in all fields.
على الشرف السلام لسيدي حضرة صاحب الجلالة الملك المعظم. سلام. قف. على الشرف كتفان سرع. استأذن جلالتكم انصراف على الشرف. سيد. على الشرف تقدم لاستعراض بنظام الفصائل اليمين. محترم. سر.
His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, received at Sakhir Palace the Commander of the US Naval Forces Central Command and Commander of the 5th Fleet, Vice Admiral Kurt Renshaw, who greeted His Majesty on the occasion of his appointment. His Majesty the King welcomed the Vice Admiral and congratulated him on assuming his new duties. His Majesty wished him success in his new military duties to support Bahrain-US cooperation and achieve all that serves security and peace in the region. His Majesty praised the depth of the strong strategic relations and the close historical partnership that unite the two friendly countries as allies and partners, and the continuous development of bilateral cooperation, particularly in the military and defense fields. His Majesty affirmed that Bahrain-US relations have been built over decades on trust, respect, and a commitment to achieving all goals and aspirations. His Majesty the King commended the pivotal role played by the U.S. administration in ensuring security and stability in the region and promoting international peace. His Majesty also praised the role of the U.S. President Donald Trump in the success of the Sharm el-Sheikh Summit for Peace, his tireless efforts to reach an agreement to end the war in Gaza, and his efforts to advance peace in the Middle East. The commander of the U.S. Naval Forces Central Command expressed pride and appreciation to His Majesty the King's efforts in strengthening strategic relations and supporting close bilateral cooperation with his country in all fields. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa met with U.S. President Donald Trump on the sidelines of His Majesty's participation in the Sharm el-Sheikh Summit for Peace hosted by Egypt. His Majesty the King and the U.S. President reviewed the long-standing strategic relations between the two countries, as well as means to enhance cooperation. His Majesty commended the efforts of President Trump in reaching his peace agreement and ending the war in Gaza. For his part, President Donald Trump commended the efforts of His Majesty the King in enhancing the historical relations between the two countries. Various national and community circles responded to the royal speech delivered by His Majesty the King, affirming that it embodies the royal confidence in the capabilities of the people of Bahrain. It also expresses a renewed vision to continue the comprehensive development march, which places the interests of citizens at the forefront of priorities. More in this report.
In a national moment that embodies the spirit of generosity and responsibility and affirms the Kingdom of Bahrain's steadfast progress and its comprehensive development march, the new legislative year began with the speech of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa.
ويطيب لنا ونحن نمضي قدما ضمن مسيرتنا التنموية الشاملة أن نعرب لكم عن ارتياحنا لسير العمل المشترك بين السلطتين التشريعية والتنفيذية، وبإشراف مباشر من قبل صاحب السمو الملكي الأمير سلمان بن حمد آل خليفة ولي العهد ورئيس مجلس الوزراء، وما يثمر عن هذا التعاون الذي نقدر فيه جهود الإخوة رئيسي مجلس الشورى والنواب وجميع الأعضاء من إنجازات تشريعية نوعية تلبي التطلعات الوطنية.
His Majesty's speech praised the qualitative legislative achievements and affirmed the harmony between the legislative and executive authorities under the leadership of a team working in unison and under the direct supervision of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa. The royal speech reaffirmed that the partnership between the two authorities is a fundamental pillar of comprehensive development, which has placed Bahraini citizens at the center of national plans and policies, embodying the royal vision of building a prosperous nation and empowering citizens to participate in shaping the future. The royal speech received widespread national praise from various community figures and circles, who affirmed its wise insights and noble guidance, which embody national constants and inspire institutional work with a new spirit of cooperation and generosity. National economic, academic and media figures affirmed that the royal speech reflects the leadership's confidence and the capabilities of the nation's citizens and embodies a renewed vision for continuing comprehensive development.
His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa extended his congratulations on the success of the Sharm el-Sheikh Summit for Peace, marking the agreement secured to end the war in the Gaza Strip. The summit, attended by His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, was hosted by Egypt and co-chaired by the President of Egypt Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and US President Donald Trump, with the participation of leaders from more than 20 countries. His Royal Highness underscored that the agreement marks a historic day for peace in the Middle East and the world. His Royal Highness outlined that it represents a crucial step towards a more secure and stable region. This agreement also highlights the importance of intensifying regional and international efforts to building lasting peace and opening a new chapter for regional security and stability. His Royal Highness reiterated the kingdom's commitment to the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people, including the establishment of an independent Palestinian state benefiting both the Palestinian people and the wider region. His Royal Highness stated that the agreement reached was not only a political step but also a humanitarian necessity, adding that it provides the conditions for fostering long-term peace and prosperity in the Middle East. His Royal Highness underscored the importance of all parties to the conflict fulfilling their obligations to implement the terms of the agreement. His Royal Highness expressed gratitude to President Donald Trump and the mediators for their unwavering support in reaching this agreement. His Royal Highness reiterated the kingdom's appreciation for these efforts in safeguarding peace and stability. His Royal Highness emphasized that Bahrain, led by His Majesty the King, continues its efforts to achieve a just peace, which is the cornerstone for securing regional stability. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa issued Edict 64 of 2025, appointing a director in the Ministry of Education based on a proposal by the Minister of Education. Dr. Intisar Qaid Al-Banna shall be appointed as Director of Educational Operations for Region 3 at the Ministry, succeeding Fatima Shaheen Jassim Al-Buaini. His Royal Highness also issued Edict 65 of 2025, appointing a director at the General Secretariat of the Higher Education Council based on a proposal by the Minister of Education. Dalal Abbas Haji Al-Haj shall be appointed as Director of Accreditation and Licensing at the General Secretariat of Higher Education Council, succeeding Dr. Hussein Mohsen Hamid Al-Arayid. The first Deputy President of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sports, Chairman of the General Sports Authority GSA and President of the Bahrain Olympic Committee BOC, His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa paid an inspection visit to Isa Sports City to check on the latest preparations and readiness of the facilities to host the 3rd Asian Youth Games, which will be held from October 22nd to 31st under the patronage of His Majesty the King. Present were GSA Vice Chairman His Highness Sheikh Salman bin Mohammed Al Khalifa, BOC Deputy President His Highness Sheikh Isa bin Ali Al Khalifa, GSA CEO Dr. Abdurrahman Askar, BOC Secretary General Faris Al Kohiji, and the Chairman of the Executive Committee of the 3rd Asian Youth Games, Yusuf Ad'ij. During the visit, His Highness was briefed on the main operation center as well as the Isa bin Rashid Sports Complex, which will host the youth. His Highness was briefed on the main operation center as well as the Isa bin Rashid Sports Hall, which will host the youth volleyball, badminton and kabaddi competitions. His Highness listened to a detailed explanation from the Chairman of the Executive Committee on the work progress in preparing these facilities in accordance with the highest standards approved by the Olympic Council of Asia. His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad affirmed that the kingdom is moving confidently towards successfully hosting this major continental event, praising the efforts of the teams working in the various committees and stressing the importance of continuing to work at a fast pace to ensure full readiness before the start of the competitions. His Highness expressed his confidence that the developments and advanced facilities at the Isa Sports City will make it a model that is capable of hosting major championships, reflecting the kingdom's outstanding organizational capabilities and sporting heritage, wishing all success. The first Deputy President of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sports, Chairman of the General Sports Authority GSA, and President of the Bahrain Olympic Committee BOC, His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa, visited Bahrain National Stadium in the presence of GSA Vice Chairman His Highness Sheikh Salman bin Mohammed Al Khalifa, BOC Deputy President His Highness Sheikh Isa bin Ali Al Khalifa, GSA CEO Dr. Abdurrahman Askar, BOC Secretary General Faris Al Kohiji, and the Chairman of the Executive Committee of the Third Asian Youth Games, Yusuf Ad'ij, to inspect the preparations and readiness of the facilities to host the Third Asian Youth Games from October 22nd to 31st. His Highness affirmed that the readiness of sports facilities is one of the most important factors for the success of the Third Asian Youth Games, which will be hosted by Bahrain under the patronage of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa. His Highness inspected the readiness of the athletic track, the VIP platform, the stands, the media platform, the players' changing rooms, and all other facilities. His Highness praised the progress made in preparations, stressing the importance of ensuring that the stadium is fully ready to provide an ideal environment for friendly competitions among all representatives of Asian countries. His Highness wished all participants good luck. BDF Commander-in-Chief Field Marshal Sheikh Khalifa bin Ahmed Al Khalifa met with senior BDF officers in the presence of the Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Diab bin Sagr al-Naimi, and the Advisor for Financial and Technical Affairs, Sheikh Mohammed bin Khalifa Al Khalifa. The Commander-in-Chief and BDF commanders extended their gratitude and congratulations to His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, for his keynote speech at the opening of the fourth session of the sixth legislative term of the Shura and Representatives Councils. They commended His Majesty's vision and directives for advancing Bahrain's development under the follow-up of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, Deputy Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa. Field Marshal Sheikh Khalifa bin Ahmed also expressed gratitude for His Majesty's praise of His Royal Highness's leadership and the efforts of the National Security Advisor and Royal Guard Commander, His Highness Lieutenant General Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa. He conveyed His Majesty's greetings to all BDF commanders and expressed pride in His Majesty's recognition of the role played by the defense and security forces in safeguarding Bahrain's stability. The Commander-in-Chief affirmed that under the leadership of His Majesty and with the support of His Royal Highness, the BDF continues to serve as the nation's shield and protector, performing its duties with dedication and professionalism to ensure Bahrain's security and prosperity. Marking National Tree Week, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa planted a tree at Rifa Palace in the presence of several officials. On this occasion, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Salman outlined the importance of environmental initiatives, particularly National Tree Week, as a cornerstone of the kingdom's efforts to preserve the environment and ensure the sustainability of its resources. These efforts align with the vision of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa and the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa. Marking this moment, His Highness underscored the significance of community partnership as a core pillar of the National Afforestation Plan, emphasizing the importance of adopting environmental initiatives such as afforestation and implementing proper environmental practices. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Salman commended the community's awareness and collaborative partnership in various initiatives, recognizing their efforts in advancing the kingdom's environmental aspirations. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Salman was briefed on the progress of the National Afforestation Plan and the Bahrain Mangrove Initiative. His Highness commended the efforts of all relevant institutions as well as the valuable contribution of community initiatives that support these national efforts. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Salman also commended the tireless efforts of various individuals and institutions supporting the National Afforestation Plan, which aims to double the number of trees to 3.6 million by 2035. The Speaker of the Council of Representatives, Ahmed Al-Msallam, affirmed that the success of the Sharm el-Sheikh Summit for Peace, held to mark the agreement and end the war in Gaza and attended by His Majesty the King, represents an important stage in the process of promoting lasting peace in the region. Al-Msallam praised the royal vision of His Majesty the King, which called for a Middle East peace conference since the outbreak of the war in Gaza, and His Majesty's continuous efforts, along with the leaders of friendly countries, to consolidate peace and enhance international cooperation. He affirmed Bahrain's firm position in supporting the legitimate right of the Palestinian people and the establishment of their independent state, and that Palestinian cause to be among the priorities of Bahraini diplomacy during its non-permanent membership in the Security Council for the next 2 years. Chaired by its Speaker, the Representatives Council held its second regular session of the fourth annual session of the sixth legislative term. At the beginning of the session, the Council Speaker Ahmed Al-Msallam praised His Majesty the King's directives, royal support for citizens, and keenness to provide them with suitable job opportunities, as they are the focus of the ultimate goal of development. Al-Msallam also expressed his sincere thanks and appreciation to His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister for his directives to the Ministry of Labour to offer 3 job opportunities to the registered unemployed. Meanwhile, the Council approved the formation of the membership of the Standing Committees, the Executive Committee of the Parliamentary Division, and the Committee for Responding to the Royal Speech. It also approved 40 proposals, passed 11 decrees and 28 draft laws. Shura Council Chairman Ali Al-Saleh affirmed that His Majesty the King's participation in the Sharm el-Sheikh Summit for Peace reflects Bahrain's firm belief in peace, dialogue and coexistence, and its active diplomatic role in promoting regional and global stability. The chairman welcomed the historic agreement reached at the summit to end the war in Gaza, describing it as a pivotal step towards restoring peace and alleviating humanitarian suffering, and commended the international efforts that led to this outcome. Al-Saleh praised Egypt under the leadership of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi for successfully hosting the summit, and noted the important role played by the US and other mediators in reaching the agreement. The chairman affirmed that under the leadership of His Majesty the King and with the support of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, Bahrain will continue to back all initiatives that promote peace, security and development in the region and beyond. The Minister of Interior and Chairman of the Ministerial Committee for Information and Communication Technology, General Sheikh Rashid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, chaired the committee's meeting attended by the Minister of Transportation and Telecommunications, the Minister of Cabinet Affairs, the Minister of Sustainable Development, the Minister of Industry and Commerce, and the Chief Executive of the Information and E-Government Authority and Coordinator at the Prime Minister's Office. The Interior Minister affirmed that the committee is moving forward in strengthening national efforts aimed at developing government services in the information technology within the framework of the comprehensive development process led by His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, and in implementation of the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, which achieves the national strategic objectives for comprehensive digital transformation. After approving the minutes of the previous meeting and following up on the decisions issued by the Ministerial Committee, examined the latest developments in raising the efficiency of government services and emphasized the sustainability of their development. The Minister of Interior stressed the importance of continuing to intensify efforts in developing and modernizing e-services projects, which will positively reflect on the performance of government agencies and provide the best services to citizens and residents, in line with the aspirations of the leadership to build an integrated digital society that keeps pace with global developments in this field. The committee reviewed ongoing technical projects and the progress made in implementing digital initiatives, in addition to developing appropriate solutions and proposals. It reviewed the proposal for the journey of the Bahraini citizen through the Citizen Life Cycle application, which aims to provide services for citizens at all ages, including birth registration, education, and healthcare procedures, along with basic electronic services that can be provided through the application, such as employment, housing, social services, and retirement. The Minister of Interior praised this initiative, which is one of the achievements of electronic services in the context of making transactions easier and faster through digital platforms. This is in line with the Kingdom's approach to enhancing quality of life and providing digital government services that meet the needs of citizens. The committee also discussed remote healthcare, as well as one of the national projects supporting the development of digital health services in Bahrain, which aims to provide virtual services to patients with ease to reduce pressure on primary healthcare centers and allows patients to receive consultations and follow-ups without having to attend health centers. In this regard, the committee commended the efforts of the relevant authorities in developing digital transformation in primary healthcare centers, as well as expanding the scope of medical services provided through digital platforms. The committee emphasized the importance of this approach in increasing the efficiency of services and improving the quality of healthcare. It reviews government plans and projects aimed at electronic transformation of all government services to promote initiatives aimed at linking government systems. The minister praised the success and achievements of government services. He emphasized the importance of informing the beneficiaries of these services about all the latest electronic services available. The minister expressed thanks and appreciation to the members of the committee for their keenness to communicate and coordinate on everything that would develop the government services provided to all citizens and residents. He affirmed the continuation of joint work among government agencies and the private sector to achieve the goals of digital transformation and enhance Bahrain's position as a regional center in information and communications technology. The Ministry of Transportation and Telecommunications organized a workshop on the National Maritime Strategy at the Bahrain Logistics Zone, with wide attendance and participation from all government and private entities involved in the maritime transport, logistics, and maritime trade sectors in Bahrain. The workshop saw the active participation of high-level representatives from government ministries and agencies, along with leaders from the private maritime sector, ports, and logistics companies. The Minister of Transportation and Telecommunications, Dr. Sheikh Abdullah bin Ahmed Al Khalifa, affirmed that Bahrain is making confident strides towards building an integrated maritime system that keeps pace with global developments. He also affirmed that Bahrain continues to strengthen its position as a pivotal center for trade and logistics services in the region, in line with the objectives of Bahrain's Economic Vision 2030. He emphasized that the ministry seeks through these efforts to enhance the sustainability of the sector by implementing best environmental practices, developing national capabilities, and adopting technological innovations in the fields of automation and AI planning. The Minister of Legal Affairs and Acting Minister of Labor, Yusuf Khalaf, announced that Bahrain International Circuit has added 20 job vacancies for Bahraini citizens to the National Employment Platform. The move follows the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to provide 3 job opportunities to every registered job seeker by the end of the year, supporting national employment efforts and sustainable economic growth. The Minister of Legal Affairs and Acting Minister of Labour Yusuf Khalaf announced that Sila Bahrain has added 40 job vacancies to Bahraini citizens to the National Employment Platform. The initiative follows the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to provide 3 job opportunities to every registered job seeker by the end of the year, supporting national employment efforts and sustainable economic growth. The Minister of Legal Affairs and Acting Minister of Labour Yusuf Khalaf announced that National Bank of Bahrain and Bahrain Islamic Bank added 40 job vacancies for Bahraini citizens to the National Employment Platform. The initiative follows the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to provide 3 job opportunities to every registered job seeker by the end of the year, supporting national employment efforts and sustainable economic growth. The Minister of Legal Affairs and Acting Minister of Labour, Yusuf Khalaf, announced that Mazad has added 10 job vacancies for Bahraini citizens to the National Employment Platform. The initiative follows the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to provide 3 job opportunities to every registered job seeker by the end of the year, supporting national employment efforts and sustainable economic growth. The Minister of Legal Affairs and Acting Minister of Labour Yusuf Khalaf announced that Masar added 10 job vacancies for Bahraini citizens to the National Employment Platform. The initiative follows the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to provide 3 job opportunities to every registered job seeker by the end of the year, supporting national employment efforts and sustainable economic growth. The Minister of Legal Affairs and Acting Minister of Labour Yusuf Khalaf announced that Gulf Hotels Group added 10 job vacancies for Bahraini citizens to the National Employment Platform. The initiative follows the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to provide 3 job opportunities to every registered job seeker by the end of the year. The Minister of Legal Affairs and Acting Minister of Labour Yusuf Khalaf announced that Bahrain Agricultural Development Company Ghiras has added 10 job vacancies for Bahraini citizens to the National Employment Platform. The initiative follows the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to provide 3 job opportunities to every registered job seeker by the end of the year. The President of the Civil Service Bureau, Sheikh Daij bin Salman bin Daij Al Khalifa, received Civil Service Commission Chief of Kuwait, Dr. Isam Al Rubi'an, during his visit to Bahrain. The meeting discussed several topics of common interest, including developing national competencies, enhancing efficiency in government bodies, and exchanging views on the best international practices in digital transformation in the public sector. The meeting highlighted the Bureau's experience in automating administrative decisions, supporting faster decision-making, and improving accuracy and transparency, and showcased Bahrain's leading experience in shared human resources services. Dr. Rabi'an expressed appreciation for the Bureau's efforts in advancing Bahrain's government sector, commending the successful initiatives that improved institutional performance and service quality. He underlined that cooperation between the 2 sides would advance institutional capabilities. The Director General of the Institute of Public Administrations, Dr. Sheikh Rana bint Isa bin Daij Al Khalifa, received Civil Service Commission Chief of Kuwait, Dr. Isam Al Rubi'an. The visit aimed to enhance bilateral cooperation and exchange experiences in training and development between the 2 countries. Dr. Sheikh Rana bint Isa commended the strong ties between Bahrain and Kuwait, emphasizing the importance of expanding cooperation through programs and initiatives that provide a shared platform for exchanging knowledge and expertise across various domains. For his part, Dr. Rabi'an expressed pride in the long-standing relations between the 2 countries, describing them as a model of constructive Gulf cooperation. He commended the kingdom's efforts in developing national talent in both the public and private sectors. The Institute's Director General, accompanied by the Kuwaiti Civil Service Commission Chief, toured the administration's headquarters to review leadership and specialized programs operated for public and private sector employees. The Government Service Center Evaluation Committee launched the 6th edition of the Customer Experience Evaluation Guide for 2025, marking a significant milestone in the development of government services. The CEO of the National Communications Center and member of the Government Service Center Evaluation Committee, Ahmed Khalid Al-Arifi, emphasized that the launch of the updated version of the guide represents a major milestone in the development of government services. He noted that the guide launched in 2018 has established a clear standards for improved customer experience and trust in government services. He added that the committee aims to consolidate a culture of customer service in government agencies by stimulating innovation and expanding partnerships. The Kingdom of Bahrain hosted the 7th meeting of the Arab Coordination Mechanism organized by the General Secretariat of the Arab League, with the participation of a select group of experts and representatives of regional and international organizations, with the aim of enhancing cooperation and building capacities to face future challenges and risks. The meeting comes within the framework of unifying joint Arab efforts to reduce disaster risks. More in this report.
The Kingdom of Bahrain hosted the 7th meeting of the Arab Coordination Mechanism for Disaster Risk Reduction, organized by the General Secretariat of the Arab League, with the participation of a select group of experts and representatives of Arab regional and international organizations working in the fields of risk reduction, capacity building, and enhancing community resilience.
Today in the Kingdom of Bahrain, we are hosting the mechanism of cooperation for the Arab League states. We are trying our best to reach a common ground where we are all working together towards more resilient Arabic world. There is a lot of challenges that we are facing currently, and we are trying our best to make sure that we are in the same ground in terms of emergency management, disaster management, and disaster risk reduction. There is a participation from 21 international organizations, and we hope by the end of this meeting we put together a number of interventions where we can work together towards a more resilient world.
This Arab meeting is an extension of the pioneering role of the Kingdom of Bahrain in supporting regional and international efforts aimed at disaster risk reduction and consolidating the concepts of preparedness, response, and community resilience.
Our presence here today signifies the importance that the Kingdom of Bahrain gives for Arab coordination and solidarity in the face of climate shocks, as well as disaster risk reduction efforts. Our presence here in the agenda that we have is quite robust and includes multiple specific initiatives looking at sectors such as maritime security and response for disasters in maritime regions, agriculture, climate-related elements, water resources, as well as climate-related statistics and disaster-related statistics.
The Civil Defense Council, chaired by the Minister of Interior and the National Committee for Civil Emergency Management, are keen to enhance national preparedness, develop early warning systems, and integrate with joint national and regional plans. During the meeting, a number of qualitative initiatives were presented that contribute to raising the preparedness of Arab countries and strengthening their capacity for prevention and response to risks.
German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier received the credentials of Ambassador Ahmed Legrenis as Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Bahrain to Germany. The ambassador conveyed the greetings and best wishes of His Majesty the King and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to President Steinmeier, wishing Germany and its people further development. The President requested the ambassador to convey his greetings and best wishes to His Majesty and His Royal Highness, wishing the ambassador success. The two sides discussed the Bahraini-German relations and cooperation between the two countries, expressing their aspiration to further strengthen these ties. Bahrain is gearing up to host the Asian Youth Games on October 22nd to 30th under the patronage of His Majesty the King. Exhibition World Bahrain has been selected as the venue of choice for this prestigious event, alongside other premier locations across Bahrain. Exhibition World Bahrain will proudly host the opening ceremony indoors and first in the game's history alongside 13 of the scheduled sports competitions, welcoming more than 5,000 athletes from 45 countries across Asia. The competitions include boxing, kickball, tennis table, MMA, jiu-jitsu, taekwondo, judo, weightlifting, wrestling, e-sport, muay, courage and penixilat. Exhibition World Bahrain will provide a dedicated media center in its meeting rooms areas, ensuring comprehensive global coverage of the Games.